Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Hellbender Vinyl. For those of you that don't know, Hellbender is a vinyl record pressing plant located right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doing high quality, professional, top of the line record pressing, baby. We finally got one here. There aren't very many in the world, let alone the country, and to have one right under our nose is an insane resource. So if you are a musician looking to get some stuff pressed to wax, I highly, highly recommend checking out the folks over at Hellbender. Tell them Psych sent you. I've always wanted to say that. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Sit back, relax, and let's start the beats. I'm not used to this setup, having people on both sides of me, so it's a good thing. This is the first time buying a swivel chair is going to actually come into effect. Yeah, I'm going to be swiveling very dramatically today. So, getting serious for a moment here. I really like your band, and I just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
To be very clear and upfront. I'm a big fan of genre fluid dramatic music with guitars and other sounds in it, and that's kind of what's going on here.
For sure.
How would you, I don't know who wants to take this question, it's kind of the generic one, but how would you describe the band if I hadn't already heard it? How would you try to explain this to me? No, it's good. I feel way more comfortable around people that can't answer this question than people that can answer it, to be honest with you.
I'll answer. We're trying to decide who.
Well, I feel like we all might have like different answers as well.
Yeah, cool. Probably.
That's the fun thing about art.
Yeah. Wait, so what is the question again?
If I had never heard Zinnia's Garden and you had to tell me what kind of a band this was, how would you describe the sounds that you're making out there into wild?
Well, can I go first?
It seems like
I tell people this a lot because when I'm at work, I try to plug it a lot.
Oh.
So I feel like I do this a lot where I'm like, it's like the elevator pitch of the band, and then people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'll go listen." I'm like, "Yes." 4-piece ethereal rock harmonies, 4-part harmonies, all original music, and like rock based fluid sounds coming from 4 different songwriters. So it's like it's different every single time. You guys want to add in any adjectives?
I think that was spot on for sure. But guess we'd just add, because we have like 4 songwriters in the group, like our genre can really kind of like morph based on, I don't know, what we want to say, I guess.
Totally. I had somebody on the show recently, my friend Josh. He makes music under the pseudonym Doors in the Labyrinth. It's like a very experimental, gothy, ambient rock stuff. Really cool. It'd probably make sense for you to play a show sometime. Now that I'm thinking about that in my head, I hadn't considered that prior to this.
Yeah.
I'm not a promoter. Don't ask me to book the show. But the thing that he said when he was recently on the podcast was that he feels that genres are best for songs, not bands.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I really, really like that mentality because that's something that I feel like I've felt for a very long time, but I've never exactly said it out loud or put those pieces together in my head. A lot of my favorite artists, bands, musicians, whatever, over the course of time have been those ones that are very like unpredictable.
And like sounds like changing. Like I love like Radiohead. Like every single one of their albums is like so different from the previous. But I think it's cool when artists do that because it's also like don't underestimate your audience as well. Like I think I listen to all kinds of music. I feel like most people do. So I feel like allowing yourself to like have the freedom to play with genre is like really great. Like we're never like aiming to make like a song in a certain way. It just kind of like is what comes out.
Yeah. With the songwriting process for your band, since you have 4 songwriters, and I imagine everybody bringing different things to the table at different times. Is there like a standard? Have you like, this is my question. I do this a lot sometimes where like I actually don't have a question. I start talking and then the question comes up because I'm a professional, being very transparent with everyone. The playing in this band, how has that affected everyone as a songwriter individually? Would be an interesting question for me. Because I mean, you're all songwriters prior to being in this band, and now you've been playing in this band for a couple years. You put out your first record in 2022.
Yes.
Right? Did research. So over the course of these, you know, I imagine probably longer than that. We'll say 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how long you've been playing together, but how has the band affected your songwriting methods, tactics, abilities individually over the course of time, if in any way?
Would you like to chime in?
I feel like everything has become, I'd say, so much more expansive. Instead of having one brain and, you know, I'm on the keys, so I'll sit there and I can come up with something, but it's not until everybody's in the room and has a different aspect to bring to it. So allowing your ideas to also be able to like change.
Sure.
And collaboration is so much fun with everybody here. Yeah.
Yeah, and to chime off of that first question, I mean, like, we're living in like a digital electronic world where everyone makes their songs so polished, and like we're trying to be authentically raw and give you what we actually write. And that comes down to a production like aspect as well. And when we do get in the room together, that's when that true collaboration of like our songwriting changes. Like everyone here is a great songwriter, but we as an amoeba write together different than we do individually. And I think that's what you can feel and that's what you can hear.
Yeah, it kind of has created like its own thing, I think, like outside of us, like individually. But it's also like an interesting time for you to be asking that question, because we're kind of just now starting to write like a new body of music together, and like have been having like so many conversations of like what that looks like and how we want to like do it as a more collaborative thing. I think when we first kind of started playing as a 4-piece, we each had songs that we had like brought to the table, and now we're kind of like learning how to like start from scratch together too.
Sure. It's like a restaurant, and you got a new season coming up. There's new ingredients that are fresh, maybe cooking with some things you never cooked with before, but you're interested to try.
I mean, there's definitely grease.
And then, you get the new stuff together. So with, you know, I try so hard to go so long in any episode before bringing up social media, but I'm already thinking about the genre thing and how it's almost encouraged to lock yourself in a box in a lot of ways now if you're trying to promote yourself online. I'm really curious about this band's relationship with social media and how much you're worrying about it or not.
I mean, we're very intentional about it for sure, because it's a part of everything that we do now. It's a part of all of our lives individually as well. If you're going to try to sell yourself doing anything, what's the number one thing they tell you have to have is at least 2 platforms where you're pushing your stuff. Venues want you to push your stuff. It's a huge part of what people are looking at. But for us, like, none of us, I'm not going to say enjoy it per se, but we try to make it really fun and do things that make it fun so that we can enjoy it, so that we can keep up with it, because it is tedious and you do have to share parts of yourself. But, you know, content is content, and like some of the best content you see out there is someone like having their dog lick peanut butter off of their head with a piece of saran wrap. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like
Oddly specific.
You can do
love those videos.
great content and it can be whatever you want it to be. So we try to get fun with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I over the course of time, it's so easy to to praise or hate on social media. I mean, if we're being completely honest, like this is a podcast. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like I am always just really interested in like intention and why people are doing things. And I feel bad sometimes for artists that their art doesn't really like have a organic way to be properly represented via social media. It could be a really hard thing for some artists. I think for some people that are maybe a little bit goofier and their art's a little bit more accessible and loose, like okay, maybe it's easy to make silly fun content that people can resonate with. But if you're like, you know, an artiste and if you're taking your work with some level of seriousness and you want to put it out there in a serious way, it could be a lot harder for that to not look like too manufactured
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
overly like forcing something. So, but I guess that's
I feel
the
like
tricky thing.
we do like a little bit of
Yeah.
both. Like I feel like our socials are kind of like fun and funny and like show more of like our personalities as like the band. But it's kind of nice to have that like relationship with people online that when we do have something that we are like taking more seriously or like want to say or want to share with people, then we have that like kind of like relationship with them already
Mhm.
as like an audience.
Yeah, I think too, it's for me personally, I can't speak on behalf of anybody else, but one of my biggest hurdles personally as an artist over time with social media has just been like dropping my ego and the need for everybody to take my art as seriously as I do. It's like the piece itself, like it's kind of going back to that like genre is best for a song and not for an artist. Like maybe there's the same kind of mentality to like the seriousness of a particular thing. Like, sure, this song that I did maybe has like a real heavy topic, but I'm also kind of a goofball at times.
Right. Yeah.
So being able to find a healthy way to highlight that, it probably ends up being a little bit more relatable and human in the long run.
Yeah. I feel like that is, I don't know. I feel like that's why people have like connected with the band too, is because we are like what you were saying, kind of just like raw and like not super polished. I think treating like socials is a similar vibe
Mm-hmm.
too.
Isn't it? I feel kind of weird, and I understand the idea of like labeling like what this band is doing as like raw, right? But really it's just like human and normal. And like to me it doesn't, like I guess there is like a rawness to it, but it's funny that we need to label it that way when it's really just like we're just plugging in our instruments and playing, and we like live in this weird ecosystem now where it's like you kind of need to advertise like, oh, like hey, we're a band but we actually do play. It's not like computer music. Not that there's anything wrong with computer overproduced music. That's kind of what I personally specialize in.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's kind of bullshit in the world in a sense, because I mean, we're like being authentically like what we are. We're rocking whatever. Like, and then now we have to like try to be a social media like wizard. It's like it's kind of like bullshit and it's not fair, you know?
Mhm.
But we all try our best, and that's all we could do is, like Mary said, just be intentional about what we're putting out there. And, like for all the people out there that, follow us, like, thanks,
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't do it without them at the same time. And we just want to keep giving like intentional, raw music. I think it's about the songs. It's about our art,
Yeah, it could be really hard. I've had this epiphany a few years ago where it's like I've spent, my entire adolescence, teenage, adult, now I'm like 72 years old, life where it's like all I wanted to do was just like make music. And then like I learned how to like record some stuff and do things myself and all this stuff. And then it was like, I don't have this amount of time to learn how to market. That's not what I went to metaphorical school for.
Yeah,
There's
it's crazy.
Yeah, there's people that like professionally do that.
Why do we have to wear 7 hats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, in marketing too, I think a lot of it is personality. Like you have to have that quality within yourself to be able to sell.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? What you're doing or what your thing is. And if that's just naturally not your personality trait, then it's pulling something from the deep depths within
Yeah,
you
it's crazy.
to do that. And like, we're very lucky there's 4 of us.
Uh-huh. I mean,
We get to
It's
lean
helpful.
on.
Like
Yeah.
everybody has ideas, so no matter what we are putting on social media, it does come from an authentic space, which I think is important because people are going to relate to it.
yeah, and we're talking about so I firmly believe that so much art comes from like a place of introversion.
Oh yeah.
And in order to get it out there into the world, you really have to flex your extroversion muscle, which like I don't know, a lot of people just aren't equipped with that. A big part of the reason I even started this podcast was because I wanted to get better at like talking to people and meeting people, because I'm so fucking awkward at like shows or social events. I'm never just gonna walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm Brian. I make music too." Like that. It's like
Why
so.
not?
No, instead
I can relate though. It's
it's,
okay.
it's
It's okay.
like it's just not in me. I don't know. Probably like well, we want to get into the psychology of this, like only child, not many friends growing up, mumbo jumbo crap that So it's just like whatever. But I'm here now. We're all here, and we all found
You're doing great.
more importantly, you found each other. The 4 of you found each other, and you're working well together. You're collaborating, you're making music, you're playing shows, you're posting on Instagram, whether you like it or not. And we're here. We're having fun. At the end of the day, it is really about, for me, like having like good human connection with the people around me, and like having something close to like a smile on my face, or at least like inside me, if I can't show it externally, because I can be a brat sometimes. But even if I'm in a good mood, I'm just like a brat about it. I'm an artist. Give me a break.
Tortured.
Yes, I'm very, very, very tortured. So with leaning more into extroversion, you all meet each other, you get some songs together, and then you start playing some shows. What has the experience of being out there in the wild, meeting other bands, playing other shows, playing different venues, different cities, all that fun stuff, what's the experience been like? I know it's a very broad question, but somebody just please take this and answer it.
Everyone's looking at me. Well, I have a lot to say about this, actually. The world of rock and roll is definitely like touchy, and it's run by a lot of men. And that's so funny. The dude in the band is the one that's answering this question, when these are the people that you want to hear their answer. But like, we get put in a room like opening for a lot of dude bands, and it's kind of like what happens. Like, we're trying to focus our alignment on like playing with, more women-based bands, and I think that's a big deal.
I think also to like, just to like elaborate, is like, it is an industry that has existed a very long time. We're not stepping into like a brand new space that is just like opened up just for us that we're stepping into. We're stepping into something that's existed for a long time and existed in a certain way for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think something that we're really grateful for is we've had the opportunity to play with bands that come from all over the world, that are filled with all kinds of different people. And once you play in those spaces, the openness and the safety and the things that you feel when you're on stage, sharing creative space with those kinds of people is like nothing else tops that. And I think what we're trying to do, and we love men. Like, I'm married to one right here. Love it. Like, what we're trying to do is expand the space for other bands to feel those safeties and feel those things. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like that is coming more and more the more that we do it. So we're trying to be really intentional about it and say, hey, like, this is the kind of space we want to be in if we're going to come out here and play these shows. Because, it's not easy to get up on the stage, like, and give yourself away to people, right? Vulnerabilities and everything aside, like, we're telling people secrets. And it's like, if you don't feel safe to do that, it can be hard on the soul, So it's like, that's basically.
That's like an insane way, in like a good way. Like it's a really cool way to frame that, like telling people secrets. I never thought about that or considered that, but me personally, I really relate with that, even though most of the bands that I've played in over time, I'm just barking my feelings and nobody understands what I'm saying anyways, but still like feeling like, it's interesting because like even as like a guy that plays in a lot of like rock and metal bands, like I have like intentionally gone out of my way to try to avoid the more like masculine side of what like heavy metal and hardcore and what that world can be, because like I don't feel comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like you get in these areas where there's a lot of nuance here, but I think a lot of people engage with some of these communities for different reasons. And I think ultimately what it comes down to me is the intention, and that I think in those spaces, for me personally, I think people aren't there for the sake of art or the sake of
Sure.
what I think that they just have a different idea of what community is the nicest way I could put it.
Sure.
And it's just not for me. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take my limited time that I have on this spinning rock in the galaxy, and I'm going to focus my energy into finding the communities that are for me.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly what we mean.
He says that all the time too, that we're just like on a rock spinning in space. And it's like, if we're not being super intentional about what we're doing, then it's like, why are we spinning? And I think people do lose that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think that as an artist on a more broad sense, it's really easy to want to like metaphorically or maybe literally take over the world. I want to take everything over, and like, sure, like I want people to hear my art. That's why I'm even bothering to like pay somebody a little bit too much money to record it and make it sound good so I could put it out there, right? Like I want people to hear this.
yeah.
But again, I think some people get really caught up in this, like, if every single person doesn't like it, if my numbers aren't reaching the certain threshold, then I am valueless. And like, I know we're kind of shifting gears on the topic here, but I guess now we're kind of like pivoting into like the definition of success as an artist, and what do we need to feel successful, because that can vary from person to person. So this is a bit of a heavy question. So Laura, what's your definition of success?
I mean, for me, yeah, I think it definitely like that might change over the course of time. But like for me, like just getting to play with like these people, like that's the success, like for me. It is wonderful to be able to like put music out and share that with people. But just the personal experience of getting to like connect with people through our music is what I'm here for. That's the success to me.
Yeah.
Mhm. I agree with that. And also, like in every audience, I feel like there's at least a handful or group of people that are really touched. Like we'll get one person that's like has tears streaming down their face in the audience, and that feels good because I think that is what the point is that there's space for everyone and to be able to connect with each other and help bring each other up. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that, going back to the topic of like wanting to share your art in, the spaces that you want to share them, sometimes it's like that you kind of have to, I don't know, if you build it, they will come sort of thing, or what you to put in, what you want to receive, that kind of stuff. So helping facilitate those things just by being there, and people in the crowd that maybe don't feel like they could ever be on a stage, and then they see you and they're like, oh wow, I can do this. That's why I think like it's really important to always play in front of like young people, even though I'm 85 years old now. Just try to, again, like always like encourage youth and let people know that there is a space for them and that they are welcome here. But it could be hard unless you or you have to be super intentional about who you're choosing to play with, where you're choosing to play, who you're choosing to work with, and maybe sometimes even like booking things yourselves. It's inevitable. I hate booking my own shows, but you got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, you also have to I think the more we're exercising our ability to say, this is what we're expecting out of a show, or this is what we're expecting out of this experience to people, the easier it's getting. So it's like less of a shock to us and to the people we're playing with or interacting with, for us to be able to say openly and safely, like, this is what we're expecting. And that's okay. Like, it bleeds into the rest of your life then. If you're showing up in a space, setting expectations for people that you've set, and they're realistic and they're intentional and mindful of what other people actually can achieve, it will bleed into the rest of your life, and you'll be able to show up in your personal life that way, and be able to show up in your relationships that way. And maybe then we will create a space for people to feel really, really synergistic in the crowd, and not just we're not here to just give you an experience. You're giving us equally as much an experience as well. And that kind of energy can be boundless. Imagine all the we could do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We could really crack open some shit in lieu of everything that's going on right now. We need each other. There's so much separation, and actually in turn, we're just all the same mirrors looking at each other. We just gotta exercise it and practice the saying of it all, and it gets easier. It's getting easier. It's not easy yet, but it's getting easier.
But even speaking it into existence, opening up the space to talk about it here, I think that's really important for people in the world to hear that, setting your intention and setting your goals, you will find yourself in situations that are more aligned. And I think that's just what we're into, composing music, and then, having a synergistic relationship with
Language
with
isn't
a
real.
crowd.
Just
Yeah.
say whatever you want.
Just being able to be vulnerable for them and have them be vulnerable for us, that creates the most insane energy. And then our compositions, I think we push them harder and play them tighter when that happens.
Yeah, you get a more human experience. There's really nothing that beats being in a space live and feeling music played live. And translating that into a studio environment can be a really, really hard experience.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
So I guess
We
let's
know.
go there.
Yeah.
So it seems
Recording.
let's talk about that. So we've touched a bit on the songwriting process for the band, but the studio process, production, and all that sort of stuff. What has that been like? I guess first, I suppose I should probably ask the question, or just kind of clarify for anybody listening that's not familiar with all of you individually. What experience has anyone had in a recording studio prior to Zinnia's Garden? Does everybody have experience recording in a studio?
I think some of us did. Yeah. I have in more both kind of DIY home studios. I also went to a school where I had some professional studio access. So had a little bit of an idea going into that space, but it can definitely who you're working with in that space will also um help to bring out what you are doing and what you're working on. And I think as we were recording our EP, the songs kind of start developing when you're in the recording studio as well,
Yeah.
which I feel you can never totally fully prepare for that, or knowing you might have some previous reference going into a studio, but I think it's just every time is going to be different.
It's the metaphor I imagine it's And I've never had a like professional beauty makeover. I'd be happy to have one if anybody wants to assist, but I imagine it would feel something like that, where it's like, oh, like I kind of have an idea of what this person can maybe make me look like. But then, you see it and somebody else is putting their own little touches and doing things a little bit differently than you would with their expertise. And you're like, whoa, I had no idea I could look like that. That's crazy. That's me. And that's how I feel like I've felt sometimes when I like really put my trust into a producer or an engineer with my music, which is something that can be really hard for me to do because I've been recording my own music for a very long time. But whenever I have like a real project, I feel it's really important to get it into the hands of somebody else and get that outside perspective.
Yeah, for
because,
sure.
My idea isn't always the best idea by any means. So I can definitely be humble in that regard. With the band and recording your songs, I'm curious about how the recording process, the first time the band went together and recorded your EP, how, if that in any way, did it change your songwriting perspective, like moving forward? Like after like going through the recording process and being like, oh, I could have done that. I never thought about layering something like that or utilizing the keys in this way or this kind of thing. And then, moving forward to writing new songs, you're like, oh yeah, remember that thing that we did? Like maybe we can try that again. Any cool things like that?
I was gonna say like some of the things that we ended up like hearing in the studio would affect how we started playing them live. Like we were writing like new parts and new harmonies and like hearing new things.
Yeah.
And then trying to incorporate that now into like how we play that song live, which I thought was like a really, really cool kind of like effect that we had gotten from the studio. Like I feel like it helped us kind of like create more intricacies for like our live performance of the song.
Yeah, that makes sense because you have like the time and the patience to like really sit down and analyze things and go over things in a way that you don't always get to if you're just like in like a small cramped room where everybody can kind of hear everybody else, but not always as clear as you would think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get into the studio and somebody starts playing something and you're like, wait, is that what you've been playing the whole time?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a half step off.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
We've got to adjust that. These things happen. But that's the fun thing with art.
So Zinnia's Garden, what's your like pre-show routine like? You guys do warm-ups?
Sorry, he's taking it over.
Yeah.
Can I hear a little bit of your warm-up process? What's it sound like? This is my life.
I feel like
every show. It's incredible.
I feel like there's greater forces at work that don't want us to put serious conversation out there.
It's
and then it's gonna reset, and now everybody's brains have just gone wild.
This is real.
This
is literally real.
We're in the goof zone.
That's where we be sometimes.
That's where we like to kind of stay. Honestly.
Reside.
Yeah.
We dip our toes in other realms, but we're like,
we dipped into the real shit. Now this is the good
it's like a lukewarm hot tub with jets going a little too hard.
Ooh.
Oh.
Little human soup.
Oddly specific again.
Saran wrap jet stream.
Oh yeah,
on an
did I say the
airplane
saran
with
wrap
orange-
dog thing? with
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just pulling from the chasms today.
So one thing that is very apparent to me in a variety of ways from the course of our conversation so far that I find really important in bands is that it's super easy for me to tell that you're all connected as human beings outside of the art that makes up
People
Zinnia's
say
Garden.
this to us a lot, actually.
It's very important.
Yeah. But
And-
like I've heard like so many people have come up to us after shows and are like, oh, you guys are like actually friends. And it's like, yeah, yes. Very much so.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is that as somebody that has recorded a lot of podcasts with a lot of different bands, I'd say it's a little less common than it should be.
Yeah. I mean, there's an array of like ways a band can be, you know. Sometimes there's like more of a front person or like things like that. and maybe the band is playing like someone's songs that like they learned, but like even the way we like to be on stage, like we all kind of like to be like up front together in a line where we can like see each other and like
connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a big fan of anybody that is going to challenge the status quo of the standard live band setup on a stage. I don't know why we've all committed to this. We've all just silently fell in line.
Free the drummer.
Yes, literally.
For real.
Yeah. It's been a struggle, like at some shows that we have to like backline and we're like, our drummer cannot be back there. Like,
She's a leader.
Yeah.
We're all leaders.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, but she goes back there.
She do.
We do
We
it.
make it work.
Uh-huh.
We make it work.
Fleetwood
Yeah,
Mac, we had to go full flying V.
Yeah.
Make sure that Mary was up front somehow.
Yeah.
Put some backlight on her.
Yeah, we brought her on land.
Get
The-
a lamp going.
The like homogenization of the live music experience over the past several decades is really disheartening. So many people that work at venues are just trying to be like super efficient, which I get. I understand that. But for the sake of like the art and this thing that you're trying to like build and promote and highlight, you really need to be more flexible with letting people
Showcase
their
the way
art
they
in the
want.
way that
Yeah.
they're intending to do it. Like
Yeah,
it,
Because it makes a difference for us, for sure.
absolutely.
Like we perform a certain way because we want to give our best show. And so when we feel separated or can't like get like be in position, get in formation, it changes the dynamic for sure a little bit.
And crowd engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Like crowd engagement is huge. And if you can't engage with the crowd, it changes the quality of the sound, you know, like, but that is like what you're talking about with like having a front person, you know, that became very common. And like pop music is very common where it's like one person is doing the show.
The crowd work.
Mhm.
And the crowd work and
yeah.
the engagement and things like that, where it's like we're definitely in that more expansive space.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all control the crowd,
Mm.
and the crowd controls us all.
Yeah.
We do have a reverse front man though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we
which
call
is what we
Evan,
call
actually.
Evan.
It can't be tied down.
No. He's normally like walking around behind us. Sometimes he'll jump up, so he'll go back. He'll be like all over. And then the three of us are just like holding it down.
They have to really stay at their instruments. And like as a guitar player, like I mean, I have my cable, but that's a dance that I like to dance with. You know?
Uh-huh.
Me and my cable, it's us. And I like to floof my cable sometimes all the way into the crowd and have it find its way back right to its perfect snake spot. So then, yeah, going in between everyone, our stage setup is most important because I don't know, I got to get my cable back to
Yeah.
where it's supposed to be so that I can do my job the best that I can for this band and for the world and for our crowd. And now
It's
Kia's
so
crying.
beautiful.
Now Kia's crying because
the cable dance
this-
is moving.
it's like
Beautiful.
Prince. It's like Prince and a microphone, a vertical microphone stand. The things he was capable to do with that microphone stand is this love language. And as a fan, you know, it's just expansive stuff. And that's the stuff we need, some juice. You know? Anyways.
Mic drop.
Before our little incident with the computer, I think we were still in the middle of this like conversation about performing live, which we're still talking about. But to get the train back on the tracks a little bit, I do have a question that I wanted to ask regarding live performances and songwriting. I'm curious if over the course of time you're playing shows and you're performing songs for human beings that are reacting in different ways to different songs. Has the reaction from particular songs helped influence your songwriting decisions moving forward in any ways?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It's also like a great space to try stuff out. Like when we have a new song, we have this song called Oracle Red that is like not recorded. We've only played it live, but we're like kind of in the process of like reworking it and writing it. So like playing it kind of the way it is and testing how people are like reacting to it, I think is like been like very helpful in a way too. And like, but being able to like be aware of how people are reacting to it. It's like you have to kind of be like watching them. I don't know, it's like jumping on one foot and like doing this thing that I can't even do. But like you're playing it, but you're also kind of like watching and like feeling and like picking up on how people are like receiving it. But yeah, I think it's been like helpful for writing.
Yeah, I have come across that a lot, and I've personally had the issue where like sometimes with my bands, like we've like had songs that we've tried to work out that like I've thought were cool, but they, for whatever reason, people didn't feel like it felt right live, so we just never recorded. And I'm like, damn, I wish we never would have played that live because I just want to record it. But that's just me being silly. It's interesting too because like you never really know like what kind of crowd you're going to be playing for, who's going to be in the room, what the energy is going to be like that night. I know we had a bit of a conversation earlier in the podcast about being intentional about like the spaces that we decide to share our art in, but also when you're like a new band and just figuring out where you belong, you kind of do have to take some chances. But I assume now you're probably at a place now where you're feeling more comfortable to like say no to some things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that intentional space is everything.
A lot of that does have to do too with like us knowing that certain other musicians will draw a crowd that will resonate deeper with our music and in turn be able to give us a synergistic experience that we're looking for when we go on stage. Whereas if we accept shows where the crowds are looking for a different experience, it's less rewarding for everyone involved.
Yeah. I imagine your band is in a kind of a unique position because all of the music that I make and perform live, a kind way of, I'm going to be nice to myself. We'll just say it doesn't require much patience. It happens. We're going, right? Let's fucking go. So in a live environment, people are like, oh, okay, cool. I get it. But with a band like Zinnia's Garden, I think some of the songs have like a certain level of intimacy that require like a level of patience, require the audience to maybe just shut the fuck up and engage with this art for a bit, which can be hard sometimes when you're playing a show and nobody knows who you are. If you're opening up for like a big band and people have absolutely no fucking respect for the opening band and just blah 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 the whole fucking time when you're trying to do something quiet. What's that experience like?
We got ghosts on our side.
Yeah, we do.
I've had a lot of experiences with this.
Yeah,
actually.
we do.
Black cat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Started off the set and these
Technology, of course.
these ghosts just like shut down Mara's bass and my guitar. And anytime I would hit a note, the bass wouldn't play. And anytime the bass hit a note, the guitar wouldn't play. And we found out that the Black Cat's haunted and there's these two ghosts and they were literally fucking with us.
That's what the sound engineers told us because they were like, we don't know what's happening. Like,
but it felt like it was in a really cool way though, because then the audience it like build up tension. It's like, oh, what's going on? So opening for Ilabama, and then like when it was time for us to go, everyone was locked in.
Yeah.
And I was like,
my brother actually was like, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but great idea.
Yeah.
And Mary Grace just had this bright idea to be like, it's time for you to come forward, and the whole room stepped up to the
that was
stage.
an accident, though. We did this
it
one
was crazy.
set.
Like the timing was nuts.
We did this one set at Fuzz Fest in West Virginia where we were like total DIY in a bar on the floor, just whatever. And I just like naturally accidentally said, like, we invite you into our little bubble. And I like opened my eyes and they had all stepped forward. And I was like, no, I have to do this song.
Okay.
With everyone 2 feet away from me, which was cool. But like, then I realized like it doesn't take very much for people to hear your, like, it's all trial and error. And then we realized like people just want to be, they want to feel like it's their idea. Like they're there for a reason and they stepped forward because you invited them in. Like, I don't really think people want to be told what to do. I think they want to feel like it's autonomous for them and like learning those little nuances. Like the music going out, like it became autonomous for them to listen because they were like, what the
What's
hell is
happening?
going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like that kind of experience makes it more like people have stake in the game at that point. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a part of this too. Like we're all here experiencing the same weird shit together.
It was nuts. Me and Kia had nailed the intro. We
we were so good.
We were
about to, like,
so
say
locked
it.
in.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Zinnia's Garden was one lead person.
Yeah.
And we were ready to give you the show of a lifetime, Black Cat. And then the ghost came out and like
I think we still gave him a good show, but
no, it
it
was
was
a great
definitely
show.
like
It made it better in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sets.
I've had an experience. It was where this was a long time ago, and I was playing a show where it was just like me, one other performer, and like a laptop backtrack thing, just doing like a small set. And for whatever reason, I had like hooked up this like my little controller to my computer and to start and stop my backtracks. And I don't know why, but every time I guess I'm giving away what actually happened. 'Cause at the time I didn't realize what would happen. So it kept on, basically the song Take On Me by Aha kept playing and it wouldn't stop playing. And I thought the sound person, because it was my friend, I thought they were fucking with me. So we kept on looking at each other, and every time I went to start, Take On Me would play. And then what I ended up finding out happening was, just for whatever reason, like the controller was routed to start my iTunes instead of starting my backtracks. And that happened like 10 times until I realized it was my fault. But to the point, everybody in the room was just finally like, what is going on? I'm like, okay, well, I guess now that I have your attention, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, I've never done that intentionally, but it may not be the worst idea.
Yeah.
I think we have a good time writing our sets, and I think putting our songs together correctly has been like a really cool experience for all of us.
Yeah. Like I think making sure like we have those like attention grabbing songs like right from the get-go in the beginning of the set, and then maybe the things that are more of like we really want people's attention, we'll like purposefully put them in its like right spot.
Yeah, I feel like with a band like the music that you have, like you really have like an insane amount of creative control to really like dictate the emotions of the room and put people on this like metaphysical roller coaster of an experience.
Nailed
it.
Sounds like a good Zinnia's Garden song that needs to be written.
Metaphysical experience.
The metaphysical roller coaster experience.
I mean, like, but I love that idea. And I love like even that like rehearsal, like every time, like let's rehearse songs in a different order today and just trying to figure out like what works in different ways and being very intentional with that stuff. And it's cool too, because once you start moving forward, I guess that's kind of piggybacking off my question of like, does the live experience like dictate your songwriting moving forward? I think that's like, you get this cool set together and it's like, well, what if we had like a really like wacky song for right here? It's like, well, we don't have it. Okay, well, let's write it. So then we could put it into the set list and, add like a couple loop-de-doops to our metaphysical roller coaster, if you will.
It honestly is the best. It's like building an experience, and we love the songs and we want them to be portrayed correctly. And I don't know, that's the fun part about art, is it's ours as a band to put out there. There's been 1,000 different orders. We've got to play a lot of music in town.
We also see a lot of music. All of us enjoy going to music a lot, and with something we do together as a group a lot. And like when you receive a body of music that you can tell has been intentionally put together to make you feel something, whether it's happiness or sadness, like that goes such a long way. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
And as somebody that also goes to a lot of shows, which piggybacking off of your Fuzzfest comment, I was very, very heartbroken because my band also played Fuzzfest.
Oh, really?
And our stage got pushed back like 90 minutes, and we ended up playing
my
at the same
God.
time as you.
Yeah.
We were playing right around the damn
Oh my
corner.
God.
But I
No
really, really,
way.
really wanted to
Right
see
up
you.
the street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
venue were you at?
At the art party.
Yeah, so where
Okay.
we
Yeah.
went and
We
like,
were the
all
art
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
that
yeah.
was confusing.
We
but I
liked
liked
that
it.
place that you played.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
that
was
was really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool. The wrestling ring was a choice,
Yeah.
but it was cool.
I didn't even realize there was a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
It was sick
looked
in there.
sick. I
It was-
saw it. It
that
was
must have been
fun.
like the coolest situation going on during Fuzz Fest. It's a very psychedelic room that
Yeah.
was going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was fun. We played well. Oh, and we also, oh God, I love Morgantown, but fuck Morgantown. So I guess we parked our van and trailer in a space where we weren't supposed to, and literally, like, as soon as we get set up, like, the people are coming in, like, the cops are coming in, they were like about to tow our stuff, because I guess apparently the last time we had played in Morgantown, that truck got a ticket and we didn't realize it.
Oh,
And it was just
no.
like, so like the set's already 90 minutes back, and then all, we have to go and like take care of this before we can even play. I'm just like, oh God, get me out of Morgantown. Shout out to Morgantown. I love Morgantown, but I fuck their parking authority, I guess.
yeah.
Like, now?
We
You
love
know,
it
it's like
there.
yeah, Morgantown's great. I love playing at Pleasant Street and stuff, but like it's like what's going on here. It's like, like 10 o'clock on a like,
Oh,
just
that
leave it
sucks.
alone. Why are you even worried about this right
Luckily,
now?
there's always someone selling hot dogs on a corner somewhere, so you can never be too upset for too long.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
Onions.
oh my God, what were we?
Yeah, we eat a lot of meals together. That's another thing.
Okay, I got a really good question for you then, but we'll get to that in a second. What the hell was I talking about before the Morgantown thing? I went into this whole fucking tangent.
Pure.
Oh, seeing bands.
Oh, same.
It is very disappointing when I like go out of my way to see some bands play, and you kind of just feel like, oh, I'm at like their band practice. This isn't really like a show that they've put together.
Yes.
Like the level of
Was that alcohol?
no.
Yes.
Oh, wait, it's not?
Uh-uh.
Oh,
Wait, do you have one without
I totally thought
No
it was.
Topo Chicos with alcohol. They're just straight up, but they are yummy.
I totally thought it was, but
Well, the
I'm
thing
still
is, that,
happy
well,
about it.
they do make those ones that are like the tequila ones.
Those are good.
Yeah, those are good too. Yeah.
These are great, though. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, of course. You're welcome. But yes.
Intermission over.
But I think too, can I just say one thing? We had
Absolutely,
a really
it's-
cool opportunity to open for Ila Bamba. And something that I learned from that whole experience was like, we could go up there and plan A, B, C, we're going to do it this way. And if we get up there and something happens, it is absolutely in our best interest to be authentic with the crowd about where we're at mentally and physically. And that is something too that I think is new in the space, where it's like, if you get up there or if you're seeing a show and you're feeling like, ooh, maybe something isn't right, the chances of something not being right are probably pretty fucking high.
Mhm.
And it is absolutely okay for the band to speak that to the crowd. And I think that's new. I think that's coming into this new earth energy where it's like, now people are on stage realizing like, I can say, hey, something went wrong up here energetically, and this is where we're at. And like, that is also really hard to do. And I think we're learning that, but that also can change the way someone experiences music later on down the line. I don't know. It's just, that was a really cool, we got to see that in real time and see that the human experience is much more than being perceived on stage and sharing yourself, little pieces of yourself. Like it is, we're still people getting up onto the stage. Like, don't just get up there and turn into like somebody new, you know?
Yeah.
And like, that was cool. It's like, it can still be maybe not your best show, and you can tell them why.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that goes back to fostering a community that you feel comfortable in,
Mhm.
and getting people to come out that are empathetic and understanding and want to engage with art regardless of, you know, if it's like exactly as it was intended or not. Like nobody's there for perfection or like flawless things. I think these people, you know, a lot of these people are probably artists in their own way, or just have some understanding of like the process. So
I think that's
when
what
you're
happened. You get bigger, and then a lot of people expect you to perform perfect, and like we're just humans.
yeah,
Like
totally.
no matter what level you get to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like I think that's the most important thing that everyone out there needs to realize, is that like we're just a bunch of humans being humans together,
Yeah.
floating on
Yeah.
a rock in space.
Uh-huh.
Let's rock. Come on.
Yeah, totally. Like being human. It's inevitable. It is the undeniable fact of all of us, and it's okay to be human and to remember that you are human, and to not try to treat yourself as anything other than human.
I think it's all about like how you react like in those moments too, which is why like I think when your brother was like, "Oh, did you guys plan that out?" He was like, he said that we were very like calm, and we were kind of just like laughing it off a little bit, and we were like, "Haha, like loud music, everybody, am I right?" And like
in our
you
heads,
know?
we're losing our shit.
Yeah,
dog.
I was definitely losing my shit in my head, but just kind of like smiling it off and like laughing it off and just being like, yeah, like this
okay.
is what you came here for. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
I've been in the position too where I've seen bands perform that I like, and I've seen artists that I respect have like embarrassing meltdowns, and I could be empathetic of their situation, but it does change my framing of them as a person,
Right.
and it's really hard to shake that.
Yeah.
You know, when you see somebody like, it's one thing to like have an issue and like kind of freak out, but I've seen people be like total fucking like jerks to other people. I've been jerks to people, and I like to this day I feel bad about some things that I've done when I was younger, and I'm like, oh, blah 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 blah. But you know, I've come into a much calmer self in my old age. I'm 122 now, but it, you know, I don't know. You learn as you go, I guess. It's like really, again, I'm only human. You know, I can't beat myself up too much for having emotions. I just didn't know what to do with them when I was younger.
Oh, and I think a lot of people still don't.
Yeah.
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 And that's like the hardest part, right?
And that's okay, you know?
yeah.
That's part of the experience. And we could just crack this open right now. Technically, we're aliens because we're on a rock in space, right? So we call
Aliens
ourselves
to someone. Yeah.
we call ourselves human, the human race, but technically we're just aliens. We've been looking for ourselves the whole time. We've been visiting ourselves.
Potentially, yeah. I love that you were like, let's just crack this chestnut right open.
Yeah.
We are aliens, actually.
It's perspective.
Do you-
I don't have anything to contribute. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna argue against it.
How are you feeling about that?
I don't have a sound argument for or against that. I've never really considered it, but I could
love
take
that.
I could take that concept and process it in my own time and get back to you next time I see you.
I love that. We have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
Already.
Totally. Hey, you know, that's a good sign. It's a
Every
sign of
time-
good conversation.
Every time you say start the beat on the podcast, do you have like a beat going like boom, boom, ch-ch?
There is something
You know?
kind of like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
I like your intro music a
That's
lot.
good.
I actually really like that song.
Oh,
It's sick. When I first watched your podcast, I was like, what is this song? Because it's like, like, what? How's it go?
well, there's been a few different ones.
Oh, what's
so-
the one where it's like kind of like a. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What
Can you do a rendition of it?
I might actually get you to do the next one.
Yeah.
You're feeling
It's like a little ASMR, you know? Did you get that?
got it. It's in there. Thank you for the kind words. a little bit ago, I had mentioned that I had something that I wanted to bring up, and I've lost track of how long we've been recording since we had to restart the video. I have no idea.
It's actually been 5 hours.
But looking at the time, it's 2:21, so we've been going for a little over an hour. So I assume we're at a point now where we can kind of wind things down and bring the train around. So this is we don't have to stop hanging out, but we will stop recording. I don't got anywhere to be until 7:15.
I definitely have to play Mortal Kombat.
You could definitely play Mortal
Before we
Kombat.
go.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely got to record the next like intro song.
Yeah, we could do all of that. We could do
At once.
We'll do like Mortal Kombat. I'll sample Mortal Kombat sound effects and get your Mortal Kombat ASMR.
Yes.
There's probably a market for that. Anyways, oh my gosh. Okay, so
winding down.
We're
winding
talking
down.
we're talking about
You'll never get rid of us.
food.
We live here now.
Food. We've mentioned that Zinnia's Garden as a band likes to enjoy food together from time to time.
We love
All
to.
the time.
All right.
Frequently.
So this is a question I like to ask some people when food comes up.
Oh,
So who here at this table is familiar or remembers the Denny's Rockstar menu?
I do.
I don't know if I know.
Do you remember this?
Was that like
in the MySpace era,
okay?
the American institution that is Denny's Restaurant Group
Yes.
introduced a program called the Denny's Rockstar menu, where they had all of these like Hot Topic era type bands get their own little sections on the Denny's menu, and it was the Rockstar menu. So there was like Hoobastank, Mayday Parade, all those kind of bands.
Green Day.
Famously Green Day, famously Hoobastank had the Who burrito on the Denny's Rockstar menu.
Love that.
So if you don't already know where this question is going,
What's our
if
menu item?
yes,
Zinnia's garden salad.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Zinnia's garden salad.
I already had
100%.
it.
Great.
$2 tofu add-on.
Yeah. Edible flowers included.
Cute.
This is fancy.
Yeah.
This is like us at
Can we just
CNH job or like, what the heck is up, Denny's?
Yeah.
Can we
What's
just
up?
literally throw in a Hobbit scramble though on top of the Zinnia's garden salad?
Cute.
Because then it just sits on top. It's like two.
Rings.
Lord of the Rings for life.
Yeah, we do love Lord of the Rings as well.
Rings of power.
Just as much as we love food.
Yes.
There is some Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter.
Feminist bread.
Oh, what about a purple portal milkshake?
That's
Ooh.
good.
Oh,
That's
wow.
good.
And it's like ube.
Mmm.
We're on the same
Denny's
page.
would love ube.
Denny's would love ube.
well, I will say this: it doesn't have to be at Denny's. If it could
Oh.
be any chain restaurant, who would it be? This is a new question. I've
Sheets.
actually never asked it. I've never.
Sheets.
This band runs on
We-
sheets.
Yeah. And
Purple portal milkshake
and
at
fumes
Sheetz.
and beta blockers as well.
Don't blast us out there like that, babe. No, I'm joking. Sheets, fumes, and beta.
Yeah, we get the job done though.
Yeah.
We do get the job done. Hire us.
We'll
We'll
have
get
the
the job
next
done.
album done tomorrow. Sheets item. What would be our band Sheets item?
Well, I mean, Sheets has salads, I think,
Got
They do.
salads and smoothies.
and
they
yeah,
also have burgers with
Mozzarella
mozzarella
sticks.
sticks and tater tots with marinara sauce all over it and cheese melted. It's great.
But you know we'd need our own app sampler.
Oh yeah.
We would definitely need a Zinnia's Garden app sampler.
We all bring one item to the table. What would it be?
We all have to have a different item.
We all bring one app. to sample.
Jalapeno poppers.
Oh, so that makes sense for like a sampling platter. Like if everybody contributes one item. Yeah, that's really important. I like that.
Yeah, super important for the world to know.
Yeah.
What?
Is it already a Sheets item?
It could be anything.
Because I would just want to say mac and cheese bites.
Yeah, right?
Good.
Jalapeno
best.
poppers, mac and cheese bites. Those are staples. What about you?
Those fried dill pickle chips.
Oh.
Let's
I
fucking
love
go.
those.
Hell yeah.
Mm,
About you?
Well,
grapes.
What?
I was more on the like charcuterie board vibe.
Yeah.
I was like more in a
Chocolate
charcuterie
apple.
than like a fried zone.
Eating some fruit.
I mean, like we stay fried for sure, but like you gotta balance it out with like grapes.
Yeah, there's some grapes in there.
Or like
Grapes.
Gruyere cheese.
It's his first charcuterie board they've ever like.
Zinnia's charcuterie sheet.
Charcuterie.
Oops, sorry.
The Zinnia's garden charcuterie platter.
The charcuterie platter. Where everyone's
Oh, I'm so glad this is recorded. We're gonna need to remember this
Yeah.
stuff later when Sheets hits us up.
what was the freaks in the sheets?
Oh, in the sheets, we all freaks. Charcuterie platter.
That's right.
Zinnia's garden.
Oh. I'm sweating.
Well, if that doesn't round out the podcast,
Yeah, I have
don't know.
nothing to
We hijacked. We've officially hijacked this podcast.
Start the beat.
Yeah. So, I mean, with all of that being said, I guess one thing that we didn't talk about is that the Winter Wonder Ball is coming up.
Yes, it
Let's
is.
I can't even remember the date,
December 21st.
Mhm.
and I just can't remember the venue for the life of me.
Spirit Hall.
I was like,
We're gonna be at Spirit.
And there's vendors.
yes.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
Yep.
You get to rock and buy stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And we have
yeah.
bring a bunch of merch and stuff too.
Yeah, we are.
We will also have tickets for sale. You know, if you guys want to hit us
Physical
up.
tickets,
Yeah,
yeah.
physical tickets. If you want to come hang out with us at any of our various shows beforehand, we're gonna be hanging out around town. So
Hell yeah. And if it hasn't already been made clear, I am hosting the Winter Wonder Ball, if anybody didn't know.
Whoop,
I
whoop,
will be,
whoop.
I will be there being a real goof.
Are you gonna introduce us before we go on?
I really hope I don't have to introduce the bands,
I think
but
you
I will
should.
introduce you.
All you have to
Nice.
say is
Everybody-
in the sheets,
everybody
we all
else can kiss
freaks.
my
Yeah.
ass. Animal scream, go to hell. Dream the heavy, ugh.
Can you guys when you
Abstract theory, gross.
No.
Every single band that's
No.
playing is going to be on the podcast before the show, by the way.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
we love every
Yeah.
band that we're
Yeah.
gonna play with, so
Yeah, they're all
excited.
homies.
Very excited.
Yeah.
All homies.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Gonna
no,
be
I
good
will be
hangs.
introducing the bands. I'm going to come up with my own copy of No Control Over It, but
Yes.
the words shark coochie might come out of my mouth. We'll see how it goes.
In
Heard it here first. We
I- Can we just make sure that all the bands are in the green room at the same time?
Why?
Well, there's multiple. No, I
Because
keep
there's
on thinking
literally
it's
just one green room
Yeah.
that's the size of a bathroom, and if
Well,
we
there's
all get
two.
in there,
there is 2 green rooms at Spirit.
there is.
Mm-hmm. Wait, are they
like
doing?
a
Are they?
downstairs
Are they
one.
doing? One,
Yeah.
is it in the lodge or is it in the hall?
Oh, that's cool.
It's in the hall.
I think it's
It's in the hall.
upstairs.
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, there is like a headliner green room at Spirit that isn't always open, but it does exist.
That's cool.
That's where
Yeah,
say
it's-
she and Abby Jean were. Or
Downstairs.
Yeah, it's interesting. So like there's like a door to it. Like when you're why are we still recording? like just telling
Give away
everybody
their
where the
secrets.
green room at
Green
Spirit
room
is.
is. In case
doesn't
you wanna
matter, it's
No, I was
there.
gonna make a
harass the
joke. It just turned not into a joke. So
Oh,
okay.
okay.
artist. I'm laughing.
Like, yeah, why would everyone be in the green room together? I don't know. It's small.
Yeah.
Reel it in.
Well, anyways, that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. One more time, Zinnia's Garden.
Thank you, Start the Beat.
Of course. Thank you all. I will be back again next week with another episode. Did this freeze again? Or am I just...
No,
I just don't know how to use this. I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes-Howell. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2024 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. We did it. That was a podcast.
Hey.
Yay!